Well, I mean, he's a big-time player, and like I said, he's been part of a semi-state team as a sophomore, state championship team as a junior, and now leading these young kids for a SAC championship, and let's see how far it takes us.
This game resembled a tournament game in a lot of ways.
Oh, a great atmosphere. Thank the Homestead community for coming out and supporting. These kids work extremely hard, and I know at the beginning of the year there wasn't much hype with these kids because a lot of them are young. They were JV players, but they're growing and they're starting to understand what it takes to be successful.
And for you, pretty rewarding to have a group come together like this.
Oh, I mean, it always is. I mean, this is the reason why you get into coaching, is to hopefully mold a group of young men to be able to play hard, play together, do things the right way.
What was the difference playing them this time than the first time you met back in the holiday?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we tweaked a few things and what we needed to do to get our shooters open. They took it to us the first time around. They were able to get a lead. They kept us down. We were never really in the game. And like we said before, we wanted to make sure it was close to where we had a chance.
Jack Ferguson had some really big shots.
Big threes. He's a big-time shooter, big-time scorer. They have to know where he is. I mean, he's very similar to the type of, what we do against Reading, is make sure he can't get open threes. So, Jack has grown tremendously from where he was at the beginning of the year to where he is today. Proud of him.
Part of Reading's night was foul trouble in the first half. What were you doing to kind of limit him?
Well, we wanted to stay with him. We wanted to make sure we knew where he was. We wanted to follow him. We didn't want him to get open looks and open shots. And Wolfcale does such a phenomenal job of defensively. And proud of him for being able to be our stopper on the defensive end. Okay.
As far as leadership is concerned, I was watching Brandon tonight remembering media day, and I'm like, man, this guy's got to come with his shoes. Talk about the way he's really stepped up.
Well, Brandon is a big-time player. I mean, nobody knew too much about him, but I knew that he could play. He's 6'5", 6 foot, whatever he is, but he plays big, and he's able to spread teams out by him being able to come out and shoot the three. So teams have to know where he is all the time. He's not just a back to the basket, a block player. I don't know if he did it tonight as far as making any threes, but he's a very good shooter from the outside.
And then obviously, how much more satisfying winning the SAC is knowing that you're.
Well, I mean, it's always good to win a conference. That's one of your goals at the beginning of the year, is to come out and be conference champions. And again, like I said before, a great group of young men, very proud of them, and hopefully we can continue this ride. We have a tough week, though, next week, 3 games, and then sectional starts.